The notification appears on my phone just as I'm stepping out of the shower. Another $1 million day. I stare at it, water dripping onto the bathroom tiles, and all I can think about is how Elise should be here, sharing this moment. But she's not. She's probably waking up in the apartment I paid for, next to the guy she told me not to worry about, debt-free thanks to the $167,000 I transferred from my savings account exactly 63 days ago. The memory still burns like acid in my chest. The morning after I made that payment, she looked me in the eyes, the same eyes I'd gazed into when promising we'd build a future together, and told me she needed space. Funny how that space materialized the moment her financial burden disappeared. I wrap a towel around my waist and walk to the floor-to-ceiling windows of my downtown penthouse. The city stretches out below me, oblivious to my triumph or my pain. The app that was once just lines of code on my laptop has now transformed into an empire valued at over $20 million. And somehow, it feels hollow without her to share it with. Or at least, that's what I thought until this morning. Because today, everything changes. Today, I'm finally going to confront her. The drive to the cafe feels surreal. My Tesla navigates the morning traffic silently, its sleek interior a far cry from the beat-up Honda I was driving 2 months ago when Elise and I were still together. Back then, I was just Nathan Reed, struggling app developer with a promising prototype but dwindling savings. Now I'm Nathan Reed, tech wunderkind whose privacy-focused messaging platform Cypher has venture capitalists and tech giants scrambling to schedule meetings. My phone buzzes constantly in the cup holder. My business partner, Marcus, sending updates about potential investors, my assistant confirming appointments, tech bloggers requesting interviews. I silence them all. Nothing matters more than this meeting. I spot her through the window as I pull up. Even from a distance, the sight of her hits me like a physical blow. Elise Parker. She's sitting at our old table, the one by the window where we used to spend Sunday mornings planning our future. Her dark hair falls in waves around her shoulders, and she's wearing the blue dress I bought her for her birthday last year. My hands tighten around the steering wheel. Is she trying to remind me of what we had? Or has she simply forgotten who paid for that dress? I take a deep breath and step out of the car, straightening my custom-tailored suit. A barista glances from me to my car and back again, recognition dawning on his face. 2 months ago, I would have been thrilled at being recognized. Now, I barely notice. Nathan, Elise says as I approach, half rising from her seat. Her voice still has that musical quality that used to make my heart race. Now it just makes my jaw clench. You look different. I slide into the seat across from her, noting how her eyes widen slightly at my appearance. The designer suit, the expensive watch, the confidence that comes with success. All new since she left. Success agrees with you, she adds, a nervous smile playing at her lips. Cut the small talk, Elise, I say, keeping my voice level despite the anger simmering beneath the surface. You wanted to meet. I'm here. What do you want? Her eyes drop to the untouched latte in front of her. For a moment, I see a flicker of the woman I fell in love with, uncertain, vulnerable. But then I remember how she left, how calculated it seemed in retrospect, and my heart hardens again. I saw the news, she says quietly. About Cypher. $20 million, Nathan. That's incredible. I say nothing, waiting. She takes a deep breath. I made a mistake. I've been thinking about us, about what we had. The cafe seems to fade away as a roaring fills my ears. Is she seriously trying to come back now? Now that I'm worth millions? The sheer audacity strikes me as almost comical. Let me get this straight, I say, leaning forward. I drained my savings account to pay off your student loans. $167,000, Elise. Money I was saving for our future. For a ring. For a down payment on a house. And the very next day, you decided you needed space. You moved out while I was at work. Left your key and a note. Didn't even have the courage to tell me to my face that you'd been seeing Jacob behind my back for months. Her face pales. How did you know about Jacob? I laugh, the sound harsh even to my own ears. You think I didn't notice? The late nights at study group, when you were supposedly finishing your master's thesis? The way you guarded your phone? The mysterious text that made you smile when you thought I wasn't looking? I shake my head. I knew, Elise. I just convinced myself it was nothing because I loved you. Because I thought what we had was worth fighting for. It wasn't like that, she protests, tears welling in her eyes. Jacob was just a friend at first. Things were so hard with us. You were always working on that app, obsessed with code and investors. I felt alone. I feel a stab of guilt, quickly replaced by anger. So alone that instead of talking to me about it, you started sleeping with your classmate? So alone that you waited until I paid off your debt before leaving. Her tears spill over now, mascara tracing black lines down her cheeks. The old me would have reached out, wiped those tears away, promised to fix whatever was broken between us. The new me just watches, unmoved. I didn't plan it like that, she whispers. Didn't you though? I counter, pulling out my phone. I open the text message thread and slide it across the table. Messages between Elise and her friend Kate, dated 3 months ago. Elise, he's going to pay off my loans. Then I can finally leave without drowning in debt. Kate, are you sure that's a good idea? Using him like that? Elise, it's not using him. He offered. And it's not like he can't afford it once his app launches. Besides, Jacob's already looking at apartments for us. She stares at the screen, color draining from her face. How did you get these? I slide the phone back into my pocket. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I know the truth. I always knew, deep down. I just didn't want to believe it. The silence stretches between us, heavy with the weight of her betrayal and my pain. Finally, she speaks, her voice small. Is that why you asked to meet? To show me you know what I did? To make me feel worse than I already do? I lean back in my chair, studying her. For 3 years, this woman was the center of my universe. I cooked her dinner when she was studying late. Held her when she cried over failed exams. Supported her dreams, her goals, her ambitions. And all along, I was just a means to an end. A way to escape debt and start a new life with someone else. No, I say finally. I agreed to meet because I wanted to thank you. Confusion crosses her face. Thank me. I nod, feeling the truth of my words as I speak them. The day you left was the worst day of my life. I thought I'd never recover. But you know what I did instead of falling apart? I channeled everything. All that pain, all that betrayal, all that anger, into my work. I stopped sleeping, stopped eating, coded for 18 hours a day, refined algorithms I'd been struggling with for months, solved problems that had seemed insurmountable. Within 2 weeks, I had a finished product. Within a month, I had investors fighting to get a piece of it. I pause, letting the words sink in. So yes, Elise, I want to thank you. Your betrayal was the best thing that ever happened to me. Her expression shifts from confusion to hurt to anger. So you invited me here to gloat? To rub your success in my face? I shake my head, suddenly tired of this conversation, of her, of the hold she's had over my emotions for too long. I invited you here because I needed closure. I needed to look you in the eye and see what I'd been blind to for years, that you never loved me the way I loved you. I stand up, dropping a 20 on the table for her untouched latte. Enjoy your debt-free life with Jacob. I hope it was worth it. I'm halfway to the door when her voice stops me. He left me. The words hang in the air between us. I turn slowly to face her. What? She looks up at me, mascara streaking her face, vulnerability naked in her eyes. Jacob left me. A month ago. Said he wasn't ready for this level of commitment. Moved to Seattle for a job without even discussing it with me. A laugh escapes me before I can stop it. The irony is too perfect. So you thought what? That you'd come crawling back to good old reliable Nathan now that he's worth millions. Her silence is answer enough. I walk back to the table, leaning down until we're eye to eye. Let me make something perfectly clear, Elise. The man who would have taken you back, who would have forgiven anything because he loved you more than his own happiness. He died the day you left. The man standing in front of you now knows exactly what he's worth, and it's a hell of a lot more than being someone's backup plan. The satisfaction I expect to feel at her stricken expression doesn't come. Instead, there's just a hollow ache where my anger used to be. I straighten up, adjusting my cuffs. I have a meeting with Google's acquisition team in an hour. Goodbye, Elise. This time, she doesn't try to stop me as I walk out of the cafe. Outside, the morning sun feels brighter somehow, the air cleaner. My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. Google just upped their offer to $30 million. You coming to this meeting, or what? I smile, real and genuine for the first time in weeks. The last tether to my old life has been cut. I'm free. The Google meeting goes better than expected. Their team is impressed with Cypher's encryption protocols, with the elegant user interface, with the rapidly growing user base. But mostly, they're impressed with me, with my confidence, my vision, my refusal to accept their initial offers. By the time we break for lunch, they've increased their offer to $35 million, with a guarantee that I'll stay on as head of development for at least 2 years. Marcus is practically vibrating with excitement as we step into the elevator. 35 million, Nate. 35 fucking million. Can you believe it? I smile at my oldest friend, the guy who stuck with me through college, through the lean years, through the endless nights of coding and failed prototypes. The guy who offered me his couch to crash on when Elise left, and I couldn't bear to be in our apartment surrounded by her things, by her absence. We're not accepting yet, I tell him as the elevator descends. I want to see if Apple comes in higher. He shakes his head, grinning. Always the strategist. When did you get so ruthless in business? I think about Elise, about the calculating way she used me, about the lessons I've learned. Let's just say I've had a crash course in recognizing my own value. As we step out into the sunlight, my phone buzzes with a notification. A news alert. Privacy app Cypher rumored to be in acquisition talks with tech giants. Marcus whistles low. Word travels fast in this industry. Your stock just went up again, my friend. I pocket my phone, thinking about the meeting with Elise this morning. The cafe seems a lifetime ago already. Let's get lunch. I'm starving. We choose an upscale sushi place nearby, the kind of restaurant I couldn't have afforded 2 months ago. As we're seated at a corner table, I notice a woman at the bar, dark-haired and striking in a simple black dress, reading a book while she eats alone. Something about the way she's completely absorbed in her reading, oblivious to the busy restaurant around her, catches my attention. Marcus follows my gaze and smirks. Down, boy. You just came out of a relationship apocalypse, remember? I tear my eyes away, focusing on the menu. I'm not looking, just observing. But I can't help glancing over again. The woman tucks a strand of hair behind her ear as she turns a page, completely engrossed. There's something refreshing about her lack of self-consciousness in a restaurant full of Silicon Valley types loudly discussing valuations and IPOs. Our food arrives, momentarily distracting me. Marcus dives right into business talk, discussing strategy for our meeting with Apple tomorrow, debating whether we should leak the Google offer to drive up the price. I contribute to the conversation, but find my attention repeatedly drawn to the woman at the bar. As if sensing my gaze, she looks up suddenly, her eyes meeting mine across the restaurant. Instead of looking away embarrassed at being caught staring, I smile slightly. To my surprise, she smiles back before returning to her book. Earth to Nathan, Marcus says, waving a hand in front of my face. Am I boring you with this talk of millions of dollars? I laugh, turning my attention back to my friend. Sorry, just distracted. Marcus glances over his shoulder at the woman, then back at me with a knowing look. Go talk to her. I shake my head. I'm not ready for that. Not after Elise. He puts down his chopsticks, suddenly serious. Look, man, I watched you pour everything you had, financially and emotionally, into that relationship. I watched you break yourself trying to make her happy. And I watched you rebuild yourself after she left. You deserve something good. Even if it's just a conversation with an attractive stranger. Before I can respond, his phone rings. He checks the display and grimaces. It's the lawyers. I should take this. He steps outside, leaving me alone with my thoughts. And apparently my courage. Before I can talk myself out of it, I stand up and walk to the bar. The woman looks up as I approach, her expression curious but not unwelcoming. I'm sorry to interrupt your reading, I say, but I couldn't help noticing you're enjoying The Innovator's Dilemma. It's one of my favorites. She marks her place in the book and smiles. Mine too, though I'm not sure enjoying is the right word. More like studying religiously for my business school thesis. Her voice has a slight accent I can't place, musical and warm. Business school? I ask, gesturing to the empty stool beside her. May I? She nods, and I sit down. Stanford MBA program, she explains. Focusing on tech disruption and startup culture. Hence the light lunchtime reading. I laugh, genuinely amused. Perfect timing. I'm actually in the middle of disrupting an industry as we speak. She raises an eyebrow, skeptical but intrigued. Is that so? Let me guess, another app that delivers something slightly faster than the last app. There's a teasing quality to her voice that makes me smile wider. Close. encrypted messaging platform that actually delivers on its privacy promises, unlike the industry giants. I expect her eyes to light up with recognition. Cypher has been in the tech news constantly for weeks, but she just nods thoughtfully. Interesting. So you're solving a legitimate problem instead of creating a solution in search of a problem. Refreshing. Her response catches me off guard. No fawning, no asking about valuations or investment opportunities. Just genuine interest in the problem being solved. I'm Nathan, by the way, I say, offering my hand. She takes it, her grip firm. Zara. Her hand is warm in mine, and I find myself reluctant to let go. Well, Zara, I'd love to hear more about your thesis. My meeting just got extended, so I have some time to kill. The conversation flows effortlessly. Zara is brilliant, challenging my assumptions about encryption protocols, asking insightful questions about user experience design, sharing her own theories about where the tech industry is headed. For the first time in months, I'm fully present, not thinking about a lease or acquisition meetings or stock options. Just engaged in stimulating conversation with a fascinating woman. We're deep in a discussion about the ethical implications of data mining when Marcus returns, looking both apologetic and amused at finding me at the bar. Sorry to interrupt, but we need to head out. Apple moved up the meeting. Reluctantly, I stand. Duty calls, I tell Zara. It was really great talking with you. She smiles, and something in my chest tightens. Likewise, Nathan the Disruptor. I hesitate, then pull out a business card, newly printed with Cypher's logo. If you ever want to continue this conversation. She takes the card, her fingers brushing mine. I'd like that. As Marcus and I walk out, he nudges me with his elbow. So, get her number? I shake my head. I gave her my card. Ball's in her court. He looks at me like I've lost my mind. You just gave a random woman your contact info, without even knowing if she has any idea who you are or what Cypher is worth. I shrug, surprised to find I don't care. Maybe that's the point. She liked talking to Nathan the person, not Nathan the millionaire app developer. For the first time since Elise left, the future feels open with possibility instead of weighted with pain. The Apple meeting is a masterclass in corporate negotiation. Their team is slick, practiced, offering $40 million with conditions that would essentially bury Cypher's core privacy features within their ecosystem. I listen politely, ask pointed questions, and then calmly decline. Cypher's mission is user privacy above all else. That's non-negotiable. Their lead negotiator looks surprised, then intrigued. You're turning down $40 million on principle. I lean forward, channeling all the hard lessons I've learned about standing my ground. I'm declining your current offer because it doesn't align with the product's vision. I'm happy to continue discussions if that vision becomes part of the conversation. As we leave the Apple campus, Marcus is uncharacteristically quiet. Finally, he speaks. That was impressive. Scary, but impressive. When did you become so comfortable walking away from life-changing money? I think about it as we get into my car. When I realize that some things are worth more than money. Integrity, vision, self-respect. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number as we pull out of the parking lot. Nathan the Disruptor. This is Zara from lunch. I Googled you after you left. Quite the omission, not mentioning you're the Nathan Reed of Cypher fame. Drinks tomorrow? I promise not to ask for stock tips. I can't help the smile that spreads across my face. Marcus glances over. Good news. I hand him the phone. He reads the message and laughs. She Googled you and still wants to meet? This one's different. I take back the phone, typing a quick reply. Guilty as charged. Drinks sound great. 8 p.m. at the Gibson? Her response comes immediately. It's a date. And just so we're clear, I can buy my own drinks. Not interested in your millions, just your mind. The warmth in my chest expands. Definitely different, I agree. By the time I get home to my penthouse, it's after 8 p.m. The day has been a whirlwind, from the emotional confrontation with Elise to the high-stakes negotiations with Google and Apple to the unexpected connection with Zara. I pour myself a scotch and walk to the windows, watching the city lights come alive below me. 2 months ago, I was devastated, betrayed, sleeping on Marcus's couch because I couldn't bear to be in the apartment Elise and I had shared. Now I'm standing in a luxury penthouse, fielding acquisition offers in the tens of millions, looking forward to a date with an intriguing woman who seems to value me for my mind rather than my bank account. I should feel elated. Instead, I feel contemplative. My phone rings, interrupting my thoughts. It's my mother. Nathan, honey, I just saw the news. $30 million? Is it true? I smile at her excitement. My parents have always been supportive, even when I dropped out of my computer science PhD program to build apps in my bedroom. Actually, the offers are higher now, but nothing's decided yet. She makes a sound between a gasp and a squeal. Oh, Nathan, I'm so proud of you. Your father is too, though you know he'll never say it directly. I laugh, picturing my stoic engineer father trying to process the idea of his son becoming a millionaire overnight. Thanks, Mom. It's been a crazy day. There's a pause, and I know what's coming next. Have you heard from Elise? My mother never liked Elise. Always said she had calculating eyes, though she kept her opinions largely to herself out of respect for my feelings. Actually, I saw her today, I say, surprising myself with how steady my voice is. We met for coffee. Oh, my mother says, caution in her voice. And how was that? I take a sip of my scotch, considering. Clarifying. She wanted to reconcile now that Cypher is successful. My mother makes a disgusted noise. That girl always did have impeccable timing. I laugh despite myself. Don't worry, Mom. I turned her down. Actually, I thanked her. Thanked her? For breaking your heart. For using you. The protective anger in my mother's voice warms me. For teaching me what I'm worth. And what I deserve. There's a moment of silence. Then my mother speaks, her voice thick with emotion. You deserved better than her, Nathan. You always did. For the first time, I truly believe it. I know that now, Mom. I really do. After we hang up, I check my email one last time before bed. Among the investor queries and interview requests is a message from an unfamiliar address. The subject line reads simply, "Thank you." Curious, I open it. Dear Mr. Reed, you don't know me, but your app Cypher saved my career, possibly my life. I'm a journalist working on exposing corruption in my country's government. Last month, my regular communications channels were compromised, putting my sources at risk. A colleague suggested Cypher. Because of your commitment to true encryption and privacy, I've been able to continue my work without fear. You could have sold out, created backdoors, compromised on security for profit like so many others. You didn't. For that, I and my sources are eternally grateful. Please keep fighting the good fight. Sincerely, a user. I read the email twice, something shifting in my perspective. In all the excitement about valuations and acquisitions, I'd almost lost sight of why I created Cypher in the first place. To give people genuine digital privacy in a world increasingly designed to strip it away. I sleep better that night than I have in months, my decision crystallizing in my dreams. The next morning, I call an emergency meeting with Marcus and our small team. They file into the conference room of our newly leased office space, expressions ranging from curious to concerned. Is everything okay? Marcus asks as I stand at the head of the table. Did something happen with the offers? I look around at the faces of the people who believed in Cypher from the beginning, who worked nights and weekends for stock options that are now worth small fortunes. I've made a decision about the acquisition offers, I tell them. We're declining all of them. The room erupts in surprised exclamations. Marcus stares at me like I've grown a second head. Nate, we're talking about life-changing money here. For all of us. I hold up a hand, asking for silence. I know, and you all deserve every penny for your brilliant work. But last night, I received an email that reminded me why we built Cypher in the first place. It wasn't to cash out to the highest bidder. It was to create something that actually protects people's privacy in a meaningful way. I tell them about the journalist, about the lives potentially saved because we prioritize security over profit. If we sell to Google or Apple or any of the tech giants, how long before they compromise our core features? How long before backdoors are quietly introduced for security reasons or advertising metrics? I see uncertainty on some faces, understanding dawning on others. I'm not saying we never sell. I'm saying we wait for a partner who shares our vision. And in the meantime, we grow Cypher ourselves. We're on track to hit 50 million users by year's end. Our valuation will only increase. Marcus is the first to speak. So what are you proposing? I outline my vision, remaining independent, expanding our user base, possibly taking on strategic investors who share our privacy-first philosophy. Each of you already has stock options that are worth significant amounts. I'm proposing we continue building something meaningful, Something that might be worth hundreds of millions instead of tens of millions in a year or two. Slowly, nods spread around the table. My lead engineer, Danny, speaks up. I didn't join to get rich quick. I joined because I believed in what we were building. I still do. Others voice similar sentiments. Finally, Marcus shakes his head, a reluctant smile forming. You're either the craziest or the smartest person I know, Nate. Possibly both. But I'm in. The rest of the day is a flurry of activity. Calls to decline the acquisition offers, met with disbelief and immediately increased bids, which we also decline. Press releases about our decision to remain independent, strategic planning for our next phase of growth. By the time 7 p.m. rolls around, I'm mentally exhausted but strangely energized. I have just enough time to go home and change before meeting Zara for drinks. As I'm selecting a tie, my phone rings with an unknown number. Thinking it might be Zara, I answer quickly. Hello. There's a pause, then a familiar voice. Nathan, it's Elise. My heart, which used to race at the sound of her voice, remains steady. What do you want, Elise? I saw the news, she says, her voice small. About you turning down the acquisition offers. Everyone's talking about it. They're calling you a visionary. I say nothing, waiting. I just wanted to say I think it's brave. The Nate I knew would have taken the safe option, the guaranteed money. There's a note of wistfulness in her voice that once would have weakened my resolve. Now it just reminds me how little she actually knew me. The Nate you knew was trying to be who you wanted him to be. I tell her, not unkindly. The Nate I am now is just being himself. Another pause. I miss you, she whispers. The words hang between us. Once so desperately wanted, now just empty syllables. I'm sorry to hear that, I reply. But I don't miss who I was with you. I have to go, Elise. I have a date. I hang up before she can respond, feeling the last vestiges of her hold on me finally release. The Gibson is crowded when I arrive, San Francisco's tech elite mingling with tourists and locals. I spot Zara at the bar, elegant in a simple red dress, her dark hair pulled back to reveal the graceful curve of her neck. She smiles when she sees me, a genuine smile that reaches her eyes. Nathan the disruptor, she greets me. Or should I say Nathan the independent visionary? Your decision is all anyone in my program can talk about today. I slide onto the stool beside her, ordering a scotch when the bartender comes over. News travels fast. She studies me with intelligent eyes. Too fast sometimes. Gives people very little time to think before reacting, which makes your decision even more interesting. I take a sip of my drink, appreciating her insight. Sometimes you just know what's right, even when everyone is telling you it's wrong. She raises her glass in a toast to knowing what's right. I clink my glass against hers, feeling a connection that has nothing to do with apps or millions or the past. So, I say, tell me something about Zara that I won't find on Google. She laughs, the sound warm and genuine. Let's see. I was born in Lebanon, grew up in Paris, worked in finance before deciding I wanted to build things instead of just fund them. I make terrible pancakes, but excellent curry. And, she leans in slightly, her eyes meeting mine. I have a strict policy against dating tech bros with more money than sense. Lucky for you. You seem to have equal amounts of both. I laugh, delighted by her candor. I'm honored to make the cut. She smiles, something sparking between us that feels like possibility. The night is young, Nathan. Don't get too confident yet. The conversation flows easily, hours passing like minutes. We talk about everything. Her childhood in Beirut and Paris, my upbringing in suburban Seattle, our shared love of problem solving and building things that matter. She challenges me intellectually in a way no one has before, pushing back on my ideas not to tear them down, but to make them stronger. By the time we step outside into the cool night air, I feel more alive than I have in months. I'd like to see you again, I tell her as we wait for our respective rides. She looks up at me, her expression serious. Are you sure? My Google search also turned up quite a recent heartbreak. I'm not interested in being anyone's rebound. The question would have stung yesterday. Today it just feels like honesty I both deserve and appreciate. You're right to ask, I tell her. The last few months have been transformative. I had my heart broken, but it led me to build something I'm proud of. More importantly, it led me to realize my own worth. I look into her eyes, allowing myself to be completely honest. I'm not fully healed, but I'm not broken either. And something about you makes me want to see what comes next. She considers this, then nods slowly. Okay then. I'm free Saturday night. Her ride pulls up, and she turns to go, then pauses. For what it's worth, Nathan, I think the woman who left you made the biggest mistake of her life. Not because of your success, but because of who you are. She rises on tiptoes and presses a soft kiss to my cheek before sliding into the waiting car. I stand there long after her car disappears into the night, touching the spot where her lips brushed my skin. My phone buzzes with another flood of notifications. Investors still trying to change my mind. Reporters requesting statements. Users thanking me for keeping Cypher independent. But for once, the outside world can wait. Tonight belongs to possibility, to new beginnings, to the unexpected journey that brought me here. 2 months ago, I thought my life was over when Elise walked out the door after I paid off her student loans. Instead, it was just beginning. My app may be worth $20 million in climbing, but tonight I've discovered something far more valuable. The knowledge that I am enough, exactly as I am. And for the first time in a long time, I'm excited to see what tomorrow brings.